You open your spice drawer and see it right away, a small jar of red powder sitting quietly like it's always been there. Paprika. You sprinkle a little over eggs, potatoes, or chicken, and it instantly makes the food look warmer, richer, more finished. But here's the strange part. Sometimes it smells like comfort, sometimes it tastes like nothing, and sometimes, the moment it hits a hot pan, it turns bitter and ruins the whole dish. So what is paprika really? And why does one red powder seem to behave like three different ingredients? Let's get into it, right here on Secrets of Simple Things. The misunderstanding we all share. Paprika is one of the most familiar spices in the modern kitchen, which is exactly why it's misunderstood. When something becomes common, we stop examining it. We treat it like background color. Most people assume paprika is a single spice with a single personality, mild, slightly sweet, and mostly decorative. In many homes, it's used like edible paint, a finishing touch, a red filter over the surface of food. But paprika isn't one flavor. It isn't even one thing in the way we normally mean it. Paprika is closer to a family name. And if you've ever been confused by why your paprika tastes different from someone else's, it's because you've been handed a different family member and told it was the same person. What paprika really is. At its core, paprika is simple. It's dried peppers, ground into powder. Not a mysterious blend, not a synthetic coloring agent, not a complicated chemical invention. Just peppers specifically, varieties of Capsicum annuum, the same broad species that includes bell peppers and many chili peppers. So why does paprika vary so dramatically? Because paprika is defined by two choices. First, which peppers are used? Some are bred for sweetness and color, some carry real heat, some have a slightly bitter edge, some are more fruity or floral than people expect. Second, what happens after harvest? Drying method, whether stems and seeds are removed, how long the peppers rest, how finely they're ground, and how fresh the final powder is when it reaches your kitchen. Paprika is a simple ingredient made complex by human decisions. And once you see that, the confusion stops. The jar makes sense. The three personalities: sweet, hot, and smoked. If paprika is a family, these are the three relatives most people meet first. Sweet paprika is the one most common in North American kitchens. It's gentle, it's warm. It tends to be more about sweetness and earthiness than heat. This is the paprika you can add to eggs, potatoes, rice, or creamy sauces without worrying that it will bite back. Hot paprika is what happens when the pepper selection leans toward capsaicin, the compound that makes peppers feel spicy. Hot paprika doesn't just add color, it adds a noticeable kick. If sweet paprika is a warm blanket, hot paprika is the same blanket with a hidden spark inside it. Smoked paprika is a different world. Instead of drying peppers in open air or standard heat, the peppers are slowly smoked, often over wood, before they're ground. That single choice changes everything. The powder becomes deeper, richer, and almost meaty in aroma. It can make a dish taste like it spent time near fire, even if it never did. And the differences are not subtle. Swap sweet paprika for smoked paprika in the same recipe, in the same quantity, and the dish can become something else entirely. This is why paprika feels inconsistent. Many of us were taught that the label paprika is enough, but paprika is not enough. The type matters. A spice with a passport, where paprika really comes from. Paprika is strongly associated with Europe today, especially Hungary and Spain, but it didn't start there. Its real origin begins with chili peppers in Central and South America, cultivated and valued long before European kitchens knew they existed. Peppers were not just food, they were culture. They were daily life. Then history did what it often does. Plants moved. When explorers carried peppers to Europe in the late 15th and early 16th centuries, the continent received something new, a bright, adaptable crop with many possible personalities. It spread quickly. Not because it was exotic, but because it was useful. It grew in different climates. It could be preserved. It could transform bland food into something alive. But peppers didn't remain New World peppers for long. Different regions began cultivating their own varieties, selecting for their own tastes, and building local traditions around drying and grinding. That's the moment paprika stops being a pepper powder and becomes a cultural artifact. Geography starts shaping flavor. Hungary. Paprika as identity. In Hungary, paprika became more than seasoning. It became a national signature. Hungarian kitchens didn't treat paprika as garnish. They treated it as foundation. Over time, the spice became carefully graded by sweetness and heat. Not all paprika was equal. Not all paprika was meant for the same role. This is one reason dishes like goulash and paprikash carry such a specific kind of warmth. Paprika isn't added at the end like decoration. It's part of the architecture. It builds the base, gives the stew its glow, and creates a flavor that feels both deep and comforting. Hungary didn't just adopt paprika. It refined it. It gave it categories. It took a traveling plant and made it feel like it belonged to the land. Spain. The power of smoke. In Spain, paprika took a different path, especially in regions where smoked paprika became central. Here, the technique matters as much as the pepper. Smoking isn't just preservation, it's a decision about taste. It's choosing fire as an ingredient. Smoked paprika became a cornerstone in foods that needed depth. Sausages, stews, slow-cooked dishes, anything that benefits from a sense of richness. You can taste the difference immediately. It's not pepper anymore. It's pepper plus time, plus wood, plus tradition. This is why two people can say paprika and mean entirely different experiences. One might be thinking of gentle warmth. Another might be thinking of smoke and intensity. The jar looks the same. The story inside it is not. The secret of the red color. Paprika's red color isn't artificial. It comes from pigments inside the peppers, primarily carotenoids, the same family of compounds that give carrots and tomatoes their orange and red tones. This is part of paprika's quiet magic. It doesn't just change flavor, it changes how food looks emotionally. A dish with paprika looks warmer, richer, more inviting. The color signals comfort before you even taste it. But here's the detail most people miss. Paprika's color fades over time. It usually doesn't spoil in a dramatic way. It doesn't turn dangerous overnight. Instead, it slowly becomes dull both in appearance and aroma. The bright red turns darker and flatter. The flavor becomes quieter. What once smelled alive becomes forgettable. And this is one of the most common reasons people think paprika has no taste. Not because paprika is bland, but because their paprika is old. Fresh paprika doesn't scream. It doesn't burn your nose the way some spices do. But it has presence, and once it fades, you notice what's missing. Why paprika is so versatile. Despite being made from peppers, paprika isn't always spicy. That's one of its greatest strengths. Many paprikas lean toward sweetness, earthiness, or smoke rather than heat. Some carry a slight bitterness that can be useful in the right dish. Some taste almost fruity in the background, especially when paired with oil, garlic, or roasted flavors. This range allows paprika to show up in many places: soups, stews, marinades, rubs, rice dishes, vegetables, eggs, sauces. In some cuisines, paprika isn't an accent, it's a structural flavor. You don't add it for color. You add it because the dish isn't itself without it. And when paprika is treated as a foundational spice, something interesting happens. It starts to feel less like powder and more like warmth. The bloom. How paprika really comes alive. There's a simple technique that explains why paprika can taste flat in one dish and rich in another. Paprika blooms in oil. Many of paprika's aromatic compounds dissolve and expand when gently heated in fat. When you stir it briefly into warm oil, just a short moment, the aroma opens. The flavor deepens. It stops being dust and becomes perfume. This is why some dishes feel like paprika is woven into them rather than sprinkled on top. The paprika was invited in early, warmed gently, and allowed to spread through the fat before the rest of the ingredients arrived. It's a small step, but it changes the entire role of the spice. It turns paprika from decoration into foundation. And the best part is, you don't need precision. You don't need a thermometer. You just need awareness. Warm oil, low to medium heat, a short stir, then continue. The one weakness: heat can ruin it fast. Paprika is generous, but it has one weakness: high heat. If paprika hits a pan that's too hot, it can burn quickly, and when it burns, it turns bitter. Not a little toasted. Bitter in a way that lingers and flattens everything else. That bitterness is why some recipes tell you to remove the pan from heat before adding paprika, or to add it after lowering the flame. It's not superstition, it's protection. Paprika doesn't want to be punished, it wants to be warmed. So if you've ever wondered why your paprika tasted harsh, it may not be the spice itself, it may be the moment you introduced it. Buying and using paprika smart. Paprika doesn't demand expertise, but it rewards small decisions. First, buy smaller amounts more often. Paprika is at its best when it's fresh. A huge jar that lasts forever is usually a jar that slowly becomes color without soul. Second, know what type you're buying. Paprika alone is vague. Sweet, hot, and smoked are different tools. Use sweet when you want warmth without smoke. Use smoked when you want instant depth. Use hot when you want paprika to actually push back. Third, store it away from light, heat, and humidity. The spice drawer next to the stove is convenient, but it's not kind. Paprika fades faster when it lives close to steam and heat. Fourth, treat it like a base flavor when the dish calls for it. Bloom it in oil. Let it warm gently. Let it become part of the dish instead of an afterthought. Paprika doesn't need a lot. It needs the right moment. So what is paprika really? It's dried and ground pepper, shaped by choices, pepper variety, drying method, smoke or no smoke, grind, and freshness. It's a simple ingredient that becomes many different things depending on where it grew and how it was treated. And maybe that's the real reason paprika belongs so perfectly on this shelf of simple things. Because it looks like nothing special, a quiet red powder, familiar enough to ignore. But inside that jar is geography, history, craftsmanship, and 1,000 small decisions that traveled through centuries to reach your kitchen. The next time you see paprika, don't just think color. Think, which paprika is this? Sweet, hot, or smoked? Fresh or faded? Warmed gently or burned too fast? Because paprika isn't only there to make food look good. It's there to tell a story one dish at a time. If you enjoyed this, you'll probably enjoy the next one too. Subscribe for more stories hidden inside ordinary things.